Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, welcome to participants from around the world and around the globe on behalf of all co-champions, namely UNEP, UNDP, the International Science Council, the German Environment Agency, the Ministry of Environment and Forestry of Kenya and Future Earth, to this launch event of a new coalition for digital environment sustainability, CODES, in support of the UN's Secretary General's roadmap for digital cooperation. Thanks also to the UN Office of the Tech Envoy to host this launch event together with us to support us in setting the stage and an important initiative as part of the broader follow-up of the implementation of the UN Secretary General's roadmap for digital sustainability, which is aiming at supporting the implementation towards the SDGs. Let me give you a background for the intentions and assumptions and interests of our initiative and what brought us together, our motivation. 2020 we started our debate within our group on a vision for a digital planet for sustainability. The current landscape, gaps and needs and actions that we can take to accelerate the transformations towards a just, sustainable and digital society. We had several workshops, we reflected upon our own digital fitness within our organizations, and we prepared for launching debates on a global scale to bring the whole discussion and the whole discourse about digitalization and the transformation driven by digitalization and sustainability transformations together. In February 2021, we presented our ideas to the newly installed United Nations Tech Envoy to become part of the broader implementation of the United Nations Secretary General's roadmap for digital cooperation. The motivation for this joint initiative is actually based on the following four major assumptions. The first major assumption is that we need to form and we need to build a new community of people coming from two still different areas of work. The first community working on digital innovations, algorithms, digital twins. So this is the community of the tech pioneers at a global scale. On the other hand side, we do have our sustainability community, people focusing on the SDGs, on climate change issues, on social, economic and ecological sustainability. Our effort is being based on the idea that we need to bring these two communities together because these might be the two most important transformations of this century. On the one hand side, the transformations towards a digital society. On the other hand side, our efforts towards a transformation to the sustainability, approach. These two approaches, these two communities need to be brought together. Our second assumption is that look back towards 2015, these SDGs, and the breakthrough towards our 17 Sustainable Development Goals. If you look at these goals, the digital dimensions are not there. And therefore, it is so important to push these issues forward. Today we can look at a multitude of already existing initiatives trying to bring together the digital world and the sustainability challenges and efforts. And we are aiming at, this is our second assumption, to build a network of these different initiatives to be even stronger as a community, building networks and communities for the future of a sustainable digital age. The third assumption is that we all need to learn very rapidly how to develop further within our organizations our own digital capabilities. We call this our own digital fitness. So this is about the IT infrastructures in our own organizations. This is about the needed capabilities of people working in our organizations to bring these two different dimensions of sustainability and digital transformations together. So we do understand ourselves as a learning community to invest and improve our own digital fitness. Our fourth assumption is that we are under time pressure. Urgency is an issue. If you look at climate change, if you look at biodiversity, if you look at ecosystems and the stress on ecosystems, we all know that we have to act fast. Therefore, we need to understand better than we do currently how we need to invest in certain dimensions of digitalization to support sustainability. We need to think an action plan for sustainability-oriented digital innovations. And this is what we would like to focus on, priority setting, because we are under time pressure to push forward the implementation of the SDGs and to improve the ecological sustainability of the planet. Indeed, the Secretary General's roadmap for digital cooperation fully recognizes the importance of digital technologies and innovations for environment and climate action. To reach these goals, UNEP, UNDP, the International Science Council, the German Environment Agency, and the Kenyan Ministry for Environment and Forestry, and Future Earth, we have joined forces as co-champions of a coalition for digital environmental sustainability, CODES, as part of the broader follow-up of the Secretary General's action plan towards the implementation of the SDGs driven by digital innovations. We feel part of this initiative of the Secretary General's roadmap towards digital innovations to support sustainable development goals. The CODES initiative aims to bring together stakeholders from the public sector, the private sector, from academia and civil society who work on the environmental sustainability and digital transformation nexus to coordinate efforts, to share joint learning processes, and to mobilize investments and coalitions and initiatives for digital sustainability. The key outcome will be shared as an action plan for supporting environmental sustainability by digital innovations, which we are going to develop during the weeks and months to come. The Coalition for Digital Environmental Sustainability will help stakeholders to focus on 5 levels of action of collaboration, which we think are essential to understand the potential of digital innovations for sustainability. The first element, the first level of action is around global environmental intelligence, the analysis of data in order to improve monitoring and prediction of environmental changes. Because the analysis of data gives us the chance to understand much better and to monitor much better ecosystems and their development. So the first level is that. It is on monitoring, predicting, and therefore better management of our ecosystems. The second level, the second element is about efficiency and effectiveness of products, services and value chains driven by digital innovations. Using digital technologies to improve the environmental and social, of course, efficiency and effectiveness of a product, of a service and a value chain is something which we can bring forward with digital technologies. There are many examples for that. So the important thing is looking at digital innovations, not only to think about organizing processes easier, better, faster and cheaper. The key objective should be to decarbonize, to dematerialize, to work on bringing toxification processes to an end, and at the end of the day, a circular global economy. The third level is then that these technologies might help us and will help us to organize systems like value chains much better than beforehand. Because the opportunities to monitor systems, to understand systems, to organize coordination and communication within systems is much easier with the new technologies than without those. So this implies that we see a leverage point here for using digital technologies to build better and more sustainable systems. Value chain, economic sectors, entire mobility systems, entire cities. Changing systems is the third level we have in mind. The fourth element is then that these digital innovations will help us to produce social innovations also. Remember the time before we had these communication tools in our hands. It was so difficult to organize us globally, transnationally, across borders. Now we can do that. So digital innovations and digital spaces and virtual spaces might help us to create something like global cooperation cultures around the globe. We are able to organize us in global networks to fight global challenges. and to move towards more global sustainability. So social innovations is the fourth layer which we have in mind. And the question is, where can we invest to improve these social innovations towards global sustainability, having in mind digital dynamics and digital innovation processes? The last level is then about digital rebound effects. What we need to avoid is that digital innovations simply multiply consumption patterns, resource consumption, the uses of goods and products and services. What we do have in mind is sustainability. What we do have in mind is circular economy. What we do have in mind is decarbonization. What we do have in mind is zero pollution development for human beings and human health. So avoiding rebound effects is something which we need to focus on and think about very hard. So dear ladies and gentlemen and colleagues, the Coalition for Digital Environment Sustainability aims to help to catalyze, to coordinate and to bring more strategic coherence to the efforts to share knowledge and maximize impact and avoid duplication in the field of bringing sustainability and digital innovations together. We are currently focusing on 4 major goals. The first goal is that we are currently working towards and preparing a report, a state-of-the-art report on sustainability transformations for a sustainable development of human beings worldwide. This report will build on already existing work and existing publications and try to formulate something like a global consensus, a global state-of-the-art perspective on digital innovations towards sustainability. This is product number 1, a report on digital innovations for implementing the SDGs, digital innovations for making a sustainable and sustainability-oriented transformation possible. The second product which we do have in mind is an action plan. The Secretary General of the United Nations has been asking us to support him to develop good ideas and priorities ideas, how we can use the digital innovations and the digital tools to improve environmental sustainability. So prioritize investments, prioritize initiatives, prioritize first steps we need to do during the next 2 to 3 years to move into the right direction, to mobilize digital innovations for sustainability. This is what we have in mind when we talk about the action plan. And we are working hard on this action plan, which will be discussed with several stakeholders within several fora I'm coming to in a second. Our third goal is that we are not only looking at developing a report and writing an action plan, we are looking at mobilizing stakeholders, bringing them into the discussion, leading them to the reports and leading them based on these discussions towards the action plan. And we are aiming at, as I already said at the beginning, we are aiming at building a global community of actors being engaged in the field of digitalization towards sustainability. Building a community of strong actors to make our voices heard. This is our third goal. Our fourth goal is then, based on the report and based on the action plan I already talked about, we will work with our academic partners and institutions. And you might remember that we have the International Science Council on board, we have the research initiative Future Earth on board, we have the German Environment Agency with its research capabilities on board. We will develop further an action plan for research initiatives to understand better the potential of digital innovations towards sustainability. Organizing priorities for an academic research program which brings together innovation towards sustainability with sustainability transformations. This is our goal number 4. So, colleagues and friends, let's move towards the end of this brief presentation and these brief remarks. How to engage and our next milestones, where we can meet, where we can work together. And I do have 8 issues on my list here. The first one is our kick-off meeting and our multi-stakeholder roundtable on the 31st of March. This is today. So our launch meeting today, this is the first gathering of people to organize the process towards the action plan which we are aiming at. The second important event will then be in support of the high-level thematic debate on digital cooperation and connectivity in the United Nations General Assembly on the 27th of April, we are working towards this event, and we are supporting the United Nations organization to get a good group of discussants together and to have a substantial debate of digitalization towards sustainability. So the 27th of April, the United Nations General Assembly debate is the second important event which we do prepare for. A third event is then a CODES stakeholder consultation meeting for the high-level synthesis report. A Digital Planet for Sustainability meeting will take place on the 7th of May to reach out to many stakeholders to discuss the first draft of the report on sustainability in the digital age I already talked about. The fourth event is then a global conference which we will label a Digital Planet for Sustainability, which will take place on the 10th and 11th of June, and obviously this will be a global, virtually organized conference. Our fifth event will then be a high-level political forum's side event, a Digital Planet for Sustainability, in July, during the 6th and the 15th of July, and during this side event we will focus on the action plan towards innovations, digital innovations and sustainability, which I already mentioned beforehand. The sixth meeting will then be a meeting of the Policy Network on Environment within the Internet Governance Forum in August. The seventh important milestone and event is then the United Nations General Assembly during the week of September the 14th towards the 21st, and our initiative, CODES, will organize a side event, a Digital Planet for Sustainability, where we will bring together our stakeholder meeting events, our stakeholder meeting learning processes, and discuss the last drafts of the report and the action plan for sustainability in the digital age I talked about. Last but not least, in December, exactly between the 6th and the 10th of December, we will take place in a multi-stakeholder consultation process at the Internet Governance Forum. So this is what we have in mind for the next weeks and months to come in 2021. And I ask you to join the Coalition for Digital Environmental Sustainability, working together to accelerate a digital planet for sustainability. This is what should bring us together. Thank you very much for listening.